Hello, everybody. Brian Tulsa here. I'm in my car, and just for a change of venue, I'm going someplace later. So before I did that, I wanted to record a video. I wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind and has come up in other areas. So we might as well talk about it now. And that is answering the question of how can MAGA conservatives be so cruel? How do they justify the kind of cruelty that they not only permit, but celebrate? There are a lot of reasons for that. I want to highlight one reason in particular because it is relevant to the conversation we're going to have about evangelical Christianity in America. And you'll see the theme as we go through it. One of the reasons they can justify the cruelty is because of how they see the people they're being cruel to. If you are protesting, if you are resisting the authority of the government that they elected, you are the equivalent of a disobedient child. And these are conservative groups that believe the way you handle a disobedient child is with punishment. And if the child continues to be disobedient, and if the child is defiant, then the punishment gets more harsh until the child falls in line. And you see this in the way they react to protesters being shot and killed, being injured, being attacked by police. It's not just that they're on one side or the other. There is a gleefulness. It's funny, it's hilarious to see these spoiled brats get what they deserve, and when someone is face down on the pavement and shot by police, when some person loses an eye because they were in a protest and they were shot by police. This is hilarious. This is so funny because it just shows they just should have stayed home. They just should have complied. Comply. Follow the instructions of law enforcement, and you wouldn't be shot. You may be detecting something that's a bit of a contradiction with some of the things that they say in other areas. For instance, they are proponents of quote unquote freedom and individuality, and they are anti-government. Why then are they so supportive of law enforcement um, attacking and injuring and even killing people who are protesting or resisting? If they're anti-government, shouldn't they be against that? If they're for freedom, shouldn't they be against that? Well, the reason is because these terms of freedom and individuality, they have special meaning in the context of the groups that are using them. They've gotten these words and their special definitions from places like church and the news sources that they exclusively use to inform them about the world. They don't have the same meaning as we would use. Their special definition does not prohibit authority from punishing people who are disobedient to the the rule of their leader. Um, you will see comments. You will see people saying to your face, "Hey, I voted for this. This is doing exactly what I wanted them to do." And if some prisoner dies in an ICE detention center, well, I guess he shouldn't have come into this country illegally. I guess they just deserved it. The concern about this, the worry about this, what you should be alerted to and very concerned about is that there is no limiting principle to this. These are people who were raised this way, right? They disobeyed their parents, so they were beaten or otherwise harshly punished until they conformed. And that's how they see the world. That's how they think you deal with people who disagree. That's how they think you deal with people who are not following the rules that you think should be followed. You just punish them, and if they're not conforming, you just punish them more harshly. Law enforcement tends to attract people who think in this way because it's binary, right? It's cause and effect. It's you do this, therefore I do that. It's crime and punishment. It's simple. It it's the Cliff Notes version of justice. Instead of justice as we would understand it, instead just about authority and punishment. Easy to understand and easy to implement if you want to put on a uniform and a badge. Yes, law enforcement will open fire on unarmed US citizens, absolutely. And the people who are supposedly for freedom and individuality will cheer, will clap, will think the whole thing is absolutely hilarious. Look at those spoiled brats. They just should have complied. It's too late to persuade people who think that way. This has been reinforced since they were children. Their parents treated them this way. They treat their kids this way, and they think you should be treated this way. And I'm not trying to persuade them otherwise. The last chance that they had to be persuaded to some other point of view, or to moderate their tone, or to moderate their tactics, was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, 2024, that was the last chance. But instead, now I'm talking to anyone who might harbor these ideas. Instead of listening, you decided that people were being alarmist, or they had Trump derangement syndrome, or they were just exaggerating, or no, they actually deserved it. You actually agreed that no, they should get that kind of treatment. They are spoiled brats. And now we're past the point, for me, of persuasion. I'm not interested in reaching across the aisle. For me, now it's all about consequences. For me, now it's about keeping track of the violations, keeping track of the atrocities, and when the rule of law is restored, holding every single person who committed these atrocities accountable, fully accountable under the law. That's all I'm interested in. It's about accountability for me. And until we can get that accountability, it's about making sure that none of this is forgotten or minimized. And if you're out there um, cheering and laughing and clapping and thinking that this is all funny and that it's hilarious, um, I don't want to take away your free speech. I don't want to suppress your expression of those ideas. I want it known. I want it out there. You want to put that in a public place. I want to make sure that it's never forgotten. I want it heard by as many people as possible, including your kids, including your grandkids, when they start looking at this and saying, "Oh my God, how can you say these things? How can you be this cruel?" There will be a time when you will want to pretend that you didn't say these things. There will be a time when you want to sweep it under the rug. But we're not going to forget. I won't forget. It is going to follow you forever. Your kids and your grandkids are going to cut contact with you, and you're not going to understand why. How could this have happened? And maybe you think they should be punished too. Those spoiled brats. What they are? not gonna talk to you anymore just because of politics. Um, yeah, yeah, the accountability for the things that you've done and said, it will happen. And I'm only really interested in the accountability at this point. I don't really care anymore if you change your point of view. And for that reason, you have to understand that even if you figure it out, even if you wake up and realize that all of these things are hateful and cruel and based on lies and based on ignorance, even if you figure it out, there are some people who will never forgive you. And I can't, I can't tell them that they should. When you see the harm that your choices has created, no matter how badly you feel about it, there will still be people who will not forgive you for it. And it's too late. It's too late. You had a chance to use your voting power to make sure this didn't happen. You didn't listen. Now your kids and your grandkids won't talk to you. Accountability has happened, and the harm that's been created is more than can be forgiven. And you're going to have to live with that. And I'm not going to feel sorry for you. There is no what about argument that is going to be sufficient. Well, what about what the other side did? That none of that is going to be sufficient. None of that's going to save you. And I don't feel sorry for you.